Hello and welcome to Fresh Face One Shots. My name is Joey.
And I'm Jacob.
And today we are back with Superman by Joshua Williamson. This is issue number 35, our final, yes, final DCKO tie-in with Life Secrets, or as the cover will promise, The End is Nigh. A really, really, really striking cover. I'm a big fan of this cover. Really love the image this evokes, being as I guess we can actually talk about it now. I know we've been avoiding it for the sake of people that don't look at solicit skill, but I think it's pretty apparent by this issue. This is our last Williamson Superman issue for at least a while, with Clark Kent as our lead Superman. But even then, Clark Kent isn't really in this issue.
No, he's not, and that's not a problem. Actually,
it's not a bad thing. And as we did mention, of course, in our last DCKO coverage with the DCKO number 4, like DCKO has been a Superman story in and of itself, and it's co-plotted by Joshua Williamson. So like you could
so
tell how this you can tell how this and DCKO are both kind of working in tandem.
Linked. I have so many thoughts. First off, I think Joshua Williamson did something so fascinating by doing some character analysis on Doomsday.
Yeah, I love this. Also, some huge Doomsday lore drops, but also some great
in those kind of dumb. Are they retcons? I'd argue they're kind of retcons, but it's
kind of retcons. Well, especially especially the sort of hypothesis towards the end of this issue of the whole like what Doomsday is to the DC
that Doomsday
universe.
Can represent second chances, which is.
Yeah.
Really interesting. Just considering, because
Jacob, I want us to take a brief moment to flash back a number of years. Let's say about 4.5 years. I don't know, somewhere around there. And you balked at me. When I told you that we would be reading The Death of Superman for Fresh Face Comics, and look at how much this has paid off. Look at how much this has served you in life, Jacob.
Here's the thing, it shouldn't, because Doomsday as a character in The Death of Superman is a force and not a character that's really just there to kill off Superman.
That's true. But also leave it to Joshua Williamson to take that and make it this.
And do more interesting things with it, because it's so interesting, because Doomsday, not a character. Dan Jurgens tries to make him a character in some of these sequel miniseries. And it is with decidedly mixed results. Like, the stories are generally sometimes, the
stories are fun. They're a good time. I don't think they're especially enticing for Doomsday as a character. But they're a fun time.
Because it tries to give Doomsday like a semi-tragic backstory, but doesn't give him a character to go along with that. Like, cool, that's sad. I can't exactly empathize with, like... It's hard to empathize with someone who doesn't seem to be, like... Still seems to, like, despite being given a tragic backstory in those stories, is still very much force of nature, is an animal.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, like...
Yeah. And of course, I mean, that's not to say there wasn't any sort of depth to him back when he was first created. You know, there was this purposeful, like, sort of dark mirror to things that Superman represented. In Doomsday's inhumane, animalistic nature was the antithesis of Clark's belief in humanity, his hope, his optimism. Doomsday was the end of all things, and the realization in that story being that Superman cannot die, that hope is inextinguishable. Is what's powerful.
Also, Doomsday is also almost a cosmic horror level force of in that story. Like and is very 90s. Whereas here, what Williamson does is, like had been done with Superboy Prime, is trying to tee him up for some sort of redemption.
Yeah, which is clearly going to happen in DCKO number 5, which I like that we actually have. Once again, I love how these books are working in tandem. I like actually having a clear trajectory for what DCKO 5 is actually going to be now. At least I feel that a lot more by the end of this issue.
My one complaint is I'm like, I know, yes, DCKO is a Superman story. People read DCKO. I don't know if it needed more issues, but it needed... Some of this, I think, needed to somehow find its way into the main miniseries as well.
I'm sure there will be some explanation. I'm sure there'll be some explanation there as well. Like there is an explanation here in this issue as well when we get to see the events of DCKO number 4 as told by Saturn Girl, which I do like the way that's done. There's always some sort of like recap to sort of like get us to like catch people up who aren't reading everything. Although I can't imagine anyone is reading this run that isn't also reading DCKO right now.
And if you're not, my real question is,
how
are you not so lost? Like,
how is that happening? Also, we do get some Eddie Barrows Absolute Universe character drawings that I really like. I love especially his Batman. Looks fantastic. So some great portrayals of them here.
Yes. I also think it's interesting because I part of me is curious to see if maybe some of this, like, I don't want to say has been stretched a little bit. Not to say that it feels stretched, but there are a couple of moments with Superboy Prime where it feels just a little like we were hoping to get to the next step in his journey a little sooner than this. Like,
I suppose there's a reason that we were able to take an entire sidestep to just see what Lex Luthor and Etrigan were doing in the tournament, for an entire issue.
Like, oh yeah, it's like some of it is just the issue of comic events in general. Like, these are issues that come with the territory, obviously.
I don't know, man. I think this event in particular has handled these sort of crossovers particularly well. I've been a big fan of the DCKO has handled all of this, mostly because it may have to do with the fact that we're reading all of the Scott Snyder and Joshua Williamson stuff, but like they're two writers I trust very much with these characters and to tell a fulfilling story. And
I do definitely trust. Like I'm like I can see where your end or where your trajectory is going here, and it's really, really interesting.
Yeah.
I am a sucker for, and it has to do with certain stories that mean a lot to me, but for stories where like the great evil can't, like, where there's the interesting cyclical nature of evil, like, because there's this whole idea that like Clark can't kill Darkseid. Doomsday isn't the opposite of Darkseid. It's like, that's not really what Doomsday is meant to be. Darkseid as an evil Darkseid will always come back because Darkseid is the representative force. All I'm gonna say is it's I can see some of Williamson's inspirations here.
I
think outside of comics.
It's not a bad thing. I mean, hell, it works. I really love what this story is doing with Doomsday and where we're setting up for this story to end, and also for our new beginning, sort of as well. I like that in this message from Lara here. Like, we get that look at Superboy Prime as well. Like, everyone having the opportunity for a second chance. We know from solicits and definitely by the end of this issue that Superboy Prime is going to be our star of Superman, starting with issue 36 next time. I love where Williamson places this character to start going on this new journey next time. I love, of course, I mean, after Doomsday leaves to go off to our big finale to DCKO, we have our sort of wrap-up epilogue here. First off, where we see the endings of a number of other DCKO tie-ins, like Titans, and whatever Mr. Terrific was up to. But we see, like, Monpa Kent, like helping the people that were evacuated from Earth and like being there for everyone, and this reuniting with Lois that feels really fulfilling, and introducing Superboy Prime to them.
Very much doing an interesting parallel to where at the end of Return of Superman, where Connor ended up, which is obviously intentional, because let's be honest, this new initiative is quite literally just I I do love that we're not tributing the death of Superman, we're tributing specifically Reign of the Supermen. Like,
yeah,
this. It's the weird thing of, in terms of like time of publishing, Superman wasn't gone that long. Like, yes,
no,
Reign
really.
of the, like, Funeral for a Friend and To the Return of Superman is quite a lot of issues, but it's quite literally because
It was split across
Superman
four
had
different
four
books. Yeah,
four
exactly.
titles,
Yeah,
4 titles, and it was currently in an era where that was the status quo, that every Superman title, like, you would be reading all, you were expected to be reading all 4, which
exactly. Yeah.
is such a, I mean, I guess it's less of a wild ask when comics, I think at that point, cost like $2 an issue.
Yeah, exactly.
Or,
but I mean,
like, however,
man, yeah, we
that is
got a much bigger ask these days.
like, that is a large ask.
Yeah. Speaking of Death of Superman parallels, there's a really funny panel towards the end here where it looks like Pa Kent's gonna have a heart attack, and man, good times,
I'm
good,
like,
good times. Am I right?
I love that ending. I also love this teeny tiny scene with Mercy Graves.
Oh yes. This is nice.
Which we just because it is very easy to forget some of these threads that have still been going on. It's like, you can still feel that uneasy tension of like, Mercy still, did the things that she did before this big event started. Like,
yeah. I'll be very curious to see, with a new protagonist next time, how Williamson will be continuing those threads, because I mean, I'm sure he will. He's Joshua Williamson. He'll understand like how to follow up on that in a meaningful way, I would imagine.
Well, Joshua Williamson's currently, like, most acclaimed run that is completed, I think, is his Flash run, and that is a really long run that a lot of people, I believe, people generally like a lot of it. Like,
yeah.
And it had quite a lot of threads for like nearly 100-ish issues, I think.
Yeah. So hey, who knows? For all we know, we're only just ending maybe the first third of the run. Good God, I would love that.
It's I also think we should. I think the recontextualization of the Legion, where it ends here, is also really interesting because it doesn't end. Redemption seems to be a big theme of Williamson's Superman run in general, and so much of this is setting up potential redemptions, but not giving us the catharsis for it, which is, I think, a brilliant move.
Yeah.
And now I think the Legion of Superheroes will be easier to redeem because Darkseid Mind Control is a lot easier to, like, reckon with.
Yeah, exactly. But
then, like, say, all of Superboy Prime stuff, because I know the Superboy Prime redemption has not just been this book, it has been a thing that has been, like, slowly cooking in his appearances for, like, a while now.
Yeah. I mean, hey, I know we do also have a Legion of Superheroes book coming up soon, so, like, I'm not sure those plot threads will be carried in this run, but
they're clearly they're threads that are being thought of, and ideas that are happening.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, this is great. This is awesome. I love this.
I do love sort of the idea, part of the love conquers all idea. Like, that seems to be part of it, which is very nice. This might be my favorite crossover issue, honestly, which is so weird because, like, it's an issue that I have this big problem of. Superboy Prime has become slightly static because he's already kind of reached a place where his arc needs to be for next issue before this issue has even happened.
This issue, I would also argue, isn't really about Superboy Prime. It's about fulfilling a lot of other different character arcs that Williamson's been doing up to this point. I think, Williamson knows he has time to follow up with Superboy Prime in the coming portion of the run. So I'm sure we'll get
which again starts next month.
Yeah, all kinds of exciting, very fun. So otherwise, I guess with the rest of these plot threads, we'll see followed up in DCKO number 5, which we will be covering very soon. And I guess since I've already queued myself up for a nice transition, be sure to check out other Fresh Face one-shots we do. Other than Superman by Joshua Williamson, we cover DCKO, we cover Batman by Matt Fraction, Wonder Woman by Tom King, The Uncanny X-Men by Gail Simone. There's also the main podcast, Fresh Faith Comics. At the time of this coming out, we have recently put out an episode on Punisher Max by Garth Ennis, Volume 1. Our next episode is Punisher Max by Garth Ennis, Volume 2. After that, we're getting back into some DC stuff. All kinds of fun things coming up there. Be sure to subscribe to check out all of that when that is out. Also, there's our Patreon, patreon.com/Blood Donut Studios. You can get all kinds of fun things there, like early Star Trek reviews, exclusive Star Trek commentaries, Fresh Face extras, bad movie commentaries. If you're not into any of that, although there is so much you can enjoy. If you're not into any of that, there's a general support tier. It's only $1 a month. You get your name down in the description of every video we put out. People will see your name down there, see you're a cool person, and they'll want to be a cool person too, and they'll join the Patreon. Otherwise, our link trees are down below. Our socials are there. You can follow us wherever you want to follow us. I guess until next time, this has been Joey Morgan.
Jacob Licklider.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.